Hello, everyone. Welcome back to In the Yard Podcast with your hosts, Constable and Braden Cox. And today we are joined by a very special guest, Pittsburgh Pirates superfan, Ethan Bulger. Ethan, happy to have you on. Thanks for coming on. And in this episode, we're going to be discussing the NL Central. Braden and I have been previewing each division. This is actually our last one. So if you haven't checked out the other division episodes, make sure you check those out to get our insights and predictions there. But yeah, Ethan, diehard Pirates fan, so he's gonna be on here for the NL Central preview. And yeah, nice to have you on, Ethan.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, we've just been doing kind of just previewing each team in the division and giving our predictions toward the end of the episode. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, Brady, do you guys want to get right into it here?
Yeah, I think that I think we might be saving the best for last year. I mean, 1 through 5, I feel like that this is might be the closest amongst all divisions. I mean, it may be a little bit more fun to talk about the AL Central, right? But with the White Sox being so bad, it doesn't really make it as entertaining. But this is like you could almost make an argument for any of these teams to finish anywhere. So I'm curious to see where you guys land.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, let's get right into it. I think we're gonna start with the Chicago Cubs. Um,
Have to.
have to start with the Cubs. I feel like it's a good one to start off with, just because they have made a lot of moves and they're kind of, I think they're a favorite to win the division on a lot of sports books.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I
start
yeah.
agree.
with the Chicago Cubbies. Obviously, they made a pretty big acquisition this offseason, acquiring Kyle Tucker from the Astros. And then, kind of had a solid team last year. They did lose Bellinger to the Yankees. But I think, they're going to be solid team. I just, personally, on my end, I don't put them as the favorite to win the division quite yet. I got to see what they could do on the field. But I think the addition of Kyle Tucker definitely helps. And they have a good young core as well. I just think they got to put together for a full season.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, of course, having a player like Kyle Tucker means that in the close games, you've got a guy that you can rely on to get those big RBIs. I think that's something that they've been missing a lot of for the past few
Mm-hmm.
years. They haven't really had the star power.
Mm-hmm.
I think their fans are still going to be asking questions because the revenue gap between them and the next team in the NL Central is huge. Kyle Tucker's great, but like we've got the Brewers sniffing down your necks. So yeah, I'm interested to see where they do. I clear favorite, I think is tough for me, but I definitely think that they would be disappointed if they didn't win that division.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally second that. Um, Even besides Kyle Tucker, which is obviously one of the biggest splashes of the offseason, just like overall, like they have a really good outfield. Like this is a good team that I feel like underperformed last year and got better this offseason. So I would think like I think they won 83, maybe it was 84 wins last year. Like I think you have to be thinking over like around 86. Like I think you have to be, especially adding a guy like Kyle Tucker. So it will be interesting to see. I don't remember exactly how many games the Brewers won last year, but I know they won the division comfortably, and the
Mm-hmm.
Cubs won like 83 games. So, that's tough competition to compete with at the end of the day, but I'm excited to see where they land.
Yeah. They're gonna be fun to watch because I don't really know what to expect from them. Like it could go either way. They could be really good or they could be, not live up to the hype that they're kind of had all off season.
Yeah, I'm excited
Yeah, and
for
I said this.
no, go
No,
ahead.
go ahead.
I was just saying I'm excited for Matt Shaw. They've got,
Mm-hmm.
young guy
Yeah.
playing third base. I think he's got high expectations and I'm excited to see how he rolls out. I mean, you get one guy like that, it could change the whole script.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
Pete Armstrong too. He kind of had some nice plays
Yeah.
last year. I mean, he's like electrifying like on the bases as well. Maybe the Cubs kind of need something like that. To get like that spark, that young spark going. Maybe they could string together a couple of nice wins and go from there.
Yeah. The thing that at the end of the day with the Cubs is I could see them, and what makes them so fascinating is I could see this team going all in at the line or selling at the line. And I kind of talked about that with the Padres. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like that they should be really good, but I have to see it to believe it. Obviously the NL Central is a little bit more. I guess, easier to win than what the NL West looks like currently. But, you know, it's going to be interesting where the Cubs are like beginning in July, because I think that will tell a huge story
Mhm.
about the franchise for the next, 2 to 3 years.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. All
Cool.
right, let's move on. Let's move on to the Cincinnati Reds, because Chicago, Cincinnati, CC. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cincinnati Reds. Braeden, me and you had really high expectations for them last year. Kind of got hit with the injury bug right from the get-go, and they couldn't really climb themselves out of that hole. But they have one of the best young shortstops in Elly De La Cruz on the team. I think they're gonna be a good, fun young team to watch. I just, they just similar to the Cubs. They have to prove it to me on the field to make me consider them as like a true contender.
You go ahead, Ethan.
Okay, I still, and I'm definitely biased. I don't think people realize, but the Reds are the Pirates' White Sox. They're from Cincinnati. That's a city rivalry that crosses leagues. Of course, you got the Bengals and the Steelers too.
Today,
Um,
baby.
but to me, I think that I would still put the I'd still put the Reds above the Pirates as far as the division goes in my head. But to me, their issue is that they're a not a one trick, definitely, but they're a two trick pony. I don't know where it goes past Hunter Green and past Elly De La Cruz. Now, Elly De La Cruz, though, I think might steal 80 bases this year. I mean, he is like
Yeah.
absolutely electric. But I mean, he can run all the way to third, and I still don't know who's getting him in.
Christian
Yeah. I
Encarnacion
think,
Strand, though. Come on.
yeah, I mean, I to a degree, I have to agree with Ethan, and you know, they don't have much. Like when you think Reds, you think Elly De La Cruz, you think they're one pitcher, and it's like from there, like what are we talking? Like how many more Reds players can you name? I know they got Jose Trevino from the Yankees in this offseason. Does that sway you? Does that win them multiple more games? They got Austin Hayes from the Phillies last year. Is that swaying you drastically? I don't think so. I think that the biggest offseason acquisition for them was their new manager, Terry Francona. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, does that push them over the edge to really compete this season? I don't know. I'd like to see it. I was kind of the Reds the past, like, I guess it was more so 2023. I was maybe a little bit off on them last year, but I still would like to see them be a little bit more competitive because I feel like that's a city that's yearning for some playoff baseball in October, but we'll see.
Yeah. They had the big red machine. They just didn't not much since then, but they were good.
Cool.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
we want to
I
move
don't have much to
to
say. Just a kind of fun young squad, but like I feel like there's still a lot of pieces away from being a true contender. Um, but yeah, I think Hunter Green, like you said, Ethan's going to be really good. Maybe they could build around him and Ellie eventually later on down the line, but I just don't think this
and
is their year.
they got Brady Singer, right? He came from Kansas City. Why do I think he came from Kansas City? Am I wrong there? Um, Maybe I'm just completely wrong on that. Yeah, no,
No,
he's
he
on the
did.
Reds.
He did.
Yeah, he did come from
Yeah,
Kansas
no,
City.
you're
Yeah,
right. You're right.
yeah, he's a solid piece. So like
Yeah,
maybe,
they pulled in Taylor Rogers in the bullpen too, which is a good
yeah,
left-hander to have.
yeah,
I mean, personally, I think he's a little bit past where he was
hmm
Taylor Rogers. Now he's a nice left-hander to have in the bullpen. I don't think of him as, Taylor Rogers, the Giants closer. But, and honestly, like Tyler Stevenson's not that bad at catcher, but I mean, he's already dealing with an oblique injury. We're not even out of spring. It might just be the same story again. But again, they've got some stars that might do some crazy things. You never know.
Yeah, I agree. I think you still just got to build around those stars still. Um, but yeah, you guys good with the Reds? I know Ethan, you kind of had a lot to say there. Or I know you told Brandon you had a lot to say about the
It's
Reds. I just
more
want to make sure you got all out.
know your enemies.
All right, let's go from Cincinnati to Milwaukee, right?
true, true.
Brewers, won the division last year. No one really expected them to be, amazing, but they seem to go out every year and just win the NL Central by a comfortable lead. They did lose Will Adames to the Giants this year. They lost Evan Williams to the Yankees, but have one of the best young outfielders in Jackson Chourio. And I don't know. I trust the Brewers to still win games and still be in contention for the top of the division when it's all said and done.
Go ahead, Brady. Not much on this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to like go off them because they've done it so consistently. I think that the last time, and I could be totally wrong on this, in a full season, right? So this is obviously excluding 2020. The last full season where the division wasn't won by more than 5 games was 2019, right? And the Brewers have won a lot of those. I think it's a completely different question when you get to the postseason because I think the last 2 years, maybe it's even three, they lost to the Mets in the wild card last year at home. The year before, they lost to the Diamondbacks at home in a wild card. So very much like you could argue regular season champs, but then can't really do anything in the postseason. But you know, we'll see. Like I think that this is a team that is still going to win a ton of games. I think this is probably the only team that I could see not finishing below third just because I trust them because I've seen them do it so many times, right? They're not going to be a bottom team in this division because they're going to go out there and they're going to win games. It's just a matter of can they just kind of win it by default like they had a few years because they've been the best of a bunch of mid. So
Yeah, and I mean, I'm secretly a big Freddie Peralta fan. I think
okay.
he's great. I think keeping him around, him still there, still have a good ace still have a good ace. That's a big deal. And I'm Jackson Trio is fantastic. I cannot wait to watch him play baseball this year. And having a guy like that on a team that's already like solid, knows how to win,
Mm-hmm.
I think is just like you said, Braden. Like I can't put them below third. Like they have, the know-how, and then they've also got a little extra juice. They're still in contention for number one in this division for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I just wouldn't pick them to win a playoff series
Yeah.
unless, this
Yeah.
season's like magical for them, but I just
Mm-hmm.
don't see that. I just wouldn't trust them at all.
Yeah. No, I think you guys both hit the nail on the head there. Like Braden, like you said, um, they're great during the regular season, but different story when it comes to the postseason. And Ethan, like you said, they just know how to win. It seems like year in and year out, they're always going to be in contention, and they have a good operation overall. So yeah, I just can't see the Brewers not at least coming in like top 2 or 3 in the division,
Exactly.
unless they have a huge like injury bug or something like that. Um, but yeah, I think we would go to Pittsburgh. We're going to save the Pirates for last, saving the best for last there. So let's jump to St. Louis in the Cardinals. Um, and yeah, I think they were kind of sellers, kind of going into the deadline last year. Traded Paul Goldschmidt this offseason to the Yankees. You still have Arenado over there. He's kind of getting older now. But I really don't know what to expect from the Cardinals because, like on paper, they're still like a solid team. But they seemed like they were a solid team last year and just didn't win any games. Um, yeah, the Cardinals are probably the most out of this division, the team I have questions about the most going into 2025.
Yeah, I think there's a strength in baseball and any sport to bringing back as many guys as they are. Goldie's gone, yeah, but it's largely the same team. Now, what I am worried about with them is everyone in the world said Arenado is gone in the winter. I think even the owner said that Arenado was gone in the winter, and Arenado is still in St. Louis.
Yeah.
So as much as like I couldn't even tell you what I think is going to happen with the Cardinals. They could either be a team that knows each other and plays pretty well and maybe pulls something out, or I could see them just completely crashing and burning, and there's some internal stuff that needs to happen because you either blow up or you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anything honestly to say here. This to me is probably the biggest question mark maybe in the league.
Mhm.
And a lot of it comes down to Arenado, right? Like I agree. Like it it was certain even after the World Series that he was gone. And he was linked to multiple teams. And it seemed like that the relationship there was gone. Like the bridge was somewhat burned, but he's still there. And it's like, okay, well, he can still go out there and kind of do it, but he might be a little washed. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like it's just it feels like it's closer to crashing and burning than it is to being like a surprise sneaky team to win the division. So
Yeah.
that's all I got.
Yeah, I just want to add, like, I really like their infield, right? Brendan Donovan, Mason Wynn, Nolan Arenado, but like their outfield and their pitching is what really can, especially their pitching. I think what Sonny Gray is probably their ace, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's
definitely.
and
And
he's
they could
out to
totally
start the
sell him at the
season.
line.
Yeah, and
Yes.
who knows? I mean, I don't think he's gonna be 2023 Sonny Gray ever again.
No,
Where he
yeah.
had that really good year with the Twins. And so like after that, it's like especially a lot of questions with the pitching. That's what my main concern is. I think the pitching is going to be their true downfall and what makes them like lose a lot of games when it's all said and done. Just thought I'd add that in there. But yeah, you never know. I think the Cardinals, like, they have a decent operation, so like you can't really count them out completely just yet. Um, but I think the Phillies are the ones that broke them though in that 2023 wild card.
Yeah, but
Um,
did they?
Yeah,
Did
because the
they
Cardinals
break
were like
them?
heavy favorites, like go to the World, not heavy favorites, but like they had
Yeah,
a good chance
Not
to
to
go
go.
into the World Series.
They were like
they were
they were
going for
definitely
it.
favorites in that
Yeah,
series.
yeah,
They
that's
were
what I
going
mean.
for it 100%.
Yeah,
Um, but that's just baseball. Those are those weird playoff series where the away
yeah,
team just kind of figures it out.
yeah,
But
dude.
um,
It's like a random like 4 o'clock like Tuesday game or like
it
Tuesday
was
like wasn't like a
nuts.
best two or three, and like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
were winning like the for like the most part, and the Phillies like in that one ninth inning game just like came back and like it was like a meltdown, it was like a ninth inning meltdown for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
And they haven't been the same since, it seems. But, but yeah, that's what I got to add
Well, it's
about the
still the
Cardinals
same
there.
team, so they might just still be feeling it. They
Yeah,
haven't really done
Yeah.
anything since.
yeah, they're just dwelling on that 2023 postseason failure. Hopefully the
Yeah.
Yankees don't
That,
turn into that after their World Series mishap there.
don't even say that. Don't even say that kind of stuff. Yeah, that year the Cardinals won 93 games and they were up 3-0 in the ninth inning, and the Phillies scored 6 runs in the ninth
Yeah,
inning.
was that game one?
Yeah.
So like I think that kind of like just like blew
It
all the
deflated
steam
them. It
out
was
of them.
over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That
That's
was that the one was
crazy.
that a one game wild card or is that best two or three?
Yeah. Actually, I think it was best 2 out of 3. Yeah, it
Okay.
was a wild card, so it was 3 games, but it was over at that point.
Yeah.
It was actually 2-0, and then the Phillies scored 6 runs, and then the Cardinals scored one lone run in the bottom of the ninth
Okay.
to
Okay.
try and mount a comeback, but it didn't happen. But yeah,
All right. Yeah. Either of you
cool.
have anything to add on the Cardinals? All
I
right,
don't think
cool.
so.
Let's get into the best team in this division. Definitely a lot of questions. I know we said we have a lot of questions about all these teams, but it's true. Like you really don't know where any of these teams truly stand before the season starts. But yeah, let's get into Ethan's beloved Pittsburgh Pirates. Um, Ethan, you lead the way on this one.
Yeah, you know, the team is not going to be good until Bob Nutting does not own the team. I think that that's been pretty widely accepted for quite a while. You've got a guy who probably could have won the Cy Young last year, probably is the favorite to win the Cy Young in the NL this year. And your big offseason move is Spencer Horwitz at first base.
Don't
Like
forget
what?
Tommy Pham.
You're right. Tommy Pham is going
Who's
to
out?
occupy a
Who's
40-man
injured
spot.
now? Right?
Nice. Well, and the other thing too, to talk about injuries, the Pirates are so even when there's promise, they have so little depth that injuries kill
Yeah,
them. Okay, they've
yeah.
got so Jared Jones, and I've been following this the past few days. Jared Jones is getting a second X-ray on his elbow. They don't want to show anyone the results of the first one.
Ugh,
It's we all know it's probably Tommy John.
right.
So now we're in now our number two guy becomes again the eighth year of the Mitch Keller project. Like
Yeah.
I don't see what the plan is. You've got Brian Reynolds, who's a great ball player
Hmm.
on a 7-year deal. You got Cabrian Hayes, who's one of the better defensive third basemen in the league, on an 8-year deal. And it's just ticking away. And to me, the line is always 74.5 for the Pirates. And you're almost always safe for taking the under.
Mm.
But
Heavy words
I feel like
coming
you
from
have
the
more to
Pirates
add
fan
there.
himself.
Don't be afraid to let it out on the podcast.
Well, I think so. I do like Tim Mayza pickup.
Tim
The
Mesa,
Okay.
Pirates,
former
Mesa,
Yank.
yeah. I mean the bullpen's like been perennially missing a lefty, so that's not bad for the team at all. You've got a guy called Bubba Chandler who's some I don't think he made the 40 man, but he's somewhere in the minor league system that is supposed to be good. Um, I've got a ton of question marks for what in the world happened to Henry Davis. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember that draft pick. I certainly do. 1-1, and I don't know if it was 22 or 23 draft. Big hitting catcher out of college.
Catcher, yeah. Yeah.
And now we're thinking that he's a right fielder because he's really not a creative catcher. But there is an actual bright spot at the catcher position for the Pirates this year. Andy Rodriguez, switch hitting catcher, missed all last year with an injury. We might get to see him this year, and I that might be cool.
Something.
Maybe O'Neal Cruz figures out how to hit a left-handed pitcher this year. I mean, there's a lot of what ifs. There always is with the Pirates. But to me, our best player still Kutch in my heart. And he's still on the
Hey,
team.
man. Yeah. Don't fix what's not broken.
Yeah.
See if you got anything.
Yeah, I mean, my take for the Pirates as an organization overall, when you have a once in a lifetime talent like Paul Skenes on your roster for how long is it through like 2029 or something now?
Yeah, I think we don't even have to arbitrate with him until
Yeah,
27. Like
yeah.
he's there.
So when you have a guy that's that good, you have to figure out how to build around him offensively, defensively, and even in the bullpen as well. But the Pirates just can't seem to put it together. But I feel like there's going to be a lot of young free agents in the upcoming years, so I feel like they got to really attack that, um, and really try to build around Paul Skenes because he's one of the best pitchers in baseball in his year two, right? And I think he's only going to get better. I think, really bright future ahead for him. And then, like you said, they have a lot of young core power. You have O'Neal Cruz, who I think he had like 4 of the top 5 hardest hit balls last year. So he has pop. And no, you have Brian Reynolds, who's like, not a superstar, but he's made a couple of all-star teams. He's a solid bat. I just think, they just have to try to do a better job of building around these guys. Um, and just trying to put together a full complete team and not being afraid to spend the money to do so. Like when you have IKF at shortstop, you're starting shortstop, like that raises a lot of questions for me. There's really no one else I can go with, even in the minors to at least get some reps.
Mhm.
And maybe they want that veteran presence there for a couple of younger guys coming up, right? But at the end of the day, you gotta be more proactive, in my opinion, and go out and try to win as many games as you can this year. Like, don't tank, win games and learn from it, and then keep building year after year.
Yeah. And the part that kind of sucks about this whole thing is I look at it, I'm like, wow, Skeens, Mitch Garver, and Jared Jones. I'm like, if they shove, bro, like I feel like that they can win a lot of games, and I feel like I would not want to see them in a wild card series, a 3 game set. That would scare me if I'm any team
Mm-hmm.
because that's a great 1, 2, 3. It's just a matter of scoring runs yourself. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to win a bunch or lose a bunch of games like 1-2. You know what I mean? Where Skenes goes out there and pitches flawless for 7 innings and then the bullpen gives up something. You know what I mean? So, but again, that it does rely on the offense to actually, get some production. So we'll see. That sucks about Jaron Jones. I wasn't, too familiar with the situation, but we'll see. Maybe it's not Tommy John. It looks like it's Tommy John. He'll probably miss substantial time, but see, see.
Yeah, well,
I think it's time for predictions, Colin.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys have anything else to add on the Pirates? I mean, one of the most beautiful stadiums in baseball. We were talking about this earlier, but they don't really. When I went last time, it was, I know it's the Yankees, so there's going to be more of those as an away team anyway. But there was had to been at least 50-50 Yankees fans, maybe more Yankees fans than Pirates. Um, and I just feel like, if they Pirates won games and operated more seriously, I think it'd be a lot more fun for them and also for baseball as well, especially with a guy like Paul Skenes, um, you know, in your organization. So I
yeah,
think
if
that
you want, and going off of what you said it was 50-50. So, when they play the Marlins, there's like four people there. And there's a financial report released, I don't know if it was 2 or 3 years ago now, but player salaries are based on ticket revenue. Like, we only are using our ticket revenue to sign players. I think
mm-hmm,
we might be the only team in the MLB that still does that. We probably are
mm-hmm.
the only team in the MLB that's done that since maybe the 90s when the big TV deals started
Yeah,
coming out. So, like, it's
you
poor
have to go to
management.
games. Yeah,
Yeah, like
Yeah, it's your
it's
fault for
either
not going to the games. That's
either
why
we
we
I
couldn't
gotta
sign big
come.
players.
I'm gonna go to Pittsburgh and start handing tickets out. I'll just buy a bunch of them, get people hooked on it.
Single-handedly by Paul Skenes' contract.
Hey, they still have like $4 dog nights, and some stadiums are getting rid of them because they can't make money off of them. But Pittsburgh, you still get that. They're still trying to bring people out.
Yeah.
funny.
All right.
Cool.
Cool. So yeah, let's get
Predictions.
into our prediction. We got 10 minutes left, so I feel like we timed that perfectly to
Yeah,
start. Brayden, you go first for your predictions, and then I'll go second, then Ethan could we'll save him
and I'm
for
going,
best
and
for
I'm
last.
going. Am I going? I'm going 5 through 1 or 1 through 5.
We've been
What do
doing
you
one through
think?
five.
All right. So I trust them. They've done it multiple years now in a row. They may have, they definitely, I would say, took a step back from last year, but because they've consistently done it, I'm going to have the Brewers winning this division. It's not going to be by 10 games. I think 1 through 3 and maybe 4 are going to be separated by very few games this season. I think it's much more even. I would say that the Pirates probably improved. I mean, the whole Jared Jones thing is a question mark, obviously. The Cubs improved, and I would say the Reds improved. The Brewers kind of like 50-50 if they improve. Probably not, but I still think that they're probably going to win this division. Second, I have the Cubs because I think that they're going to figure it out. I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs, though. Like, I would think so, but it's really a matter of how many teams are going to come out of the other NL
Yeah.
divisions, right?
I
You got the
think I think
West
you
and the
have to
East, and they're
win.
loaded.
I think you have to win this division to make the playoffs. I think that's just how it goes. It's
Yeah,
what
or
it's been like for the
be
past few years.
Agreed.
very, very close.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have the Cubs second. I'm gonna have the Reds right behind them.
Okay.
We already talked about it. There's not much to really say there. I think that they're definitely improved from last year. Like Ethan said, I think Ellie could go out there and have a spectacular season. 80 stolen bases, crazy stuff. But I don't know if like your biggest offseason acquisition being a manager like makes you win this division. I just don't see it. So I'm gonna have them third. I have the Pirates fourth. I like again, like I said, they improved. I think that they're gonna be, if you told me like would you say 74.5 wins, I would
Well, that's the
prob
line. You go over under.
I would probably go over. I don't know, like maybe I'm just being optimistic, but I think 75, 76 when I see this team. Um, but we'll see. And then I think that the Cardinals are going to be bad guys. I just don't. I
Wow.
don't have any hope. Like again, I they could totally put something together, but I just think that the other teams in the division all have higher ceilings. I think that this team is the closest to crashing and burning and being, a bottom potentially 17-5 team in the
Yeah.
league. I don't know. So I'll go with that.
Yeah. All right.
Go
I'll
ahead.
go through mine. I'll go through mine real quick here. Braden,
Yeah.
like you, I had the Brewers coming in first. You hit the nail on the head with them. I just think, they're probably the best run operation out of these
Yeah.
teams, and they've won the division past 2-3 years now. So going to still roll with them. At two, this might be a shocker for you guys. I'm going to go with the Reds. I think they have a super high ceiling.
Okay.
I think they just have to put it together this year. They have one of the best shortstops in baseball. They have one of the best young pitchers in baseball. Like I said, they just gotta put together. And we saw a little bit of that firepower in 2023 when they made a late run for the playoffs. I'm hoping they could get back to that kind of ball. Just win a couple more games than they did last year. And at three, I have the Cubs. I do think they're a little bit overrated. Yeah, they have Imanaga and Justin Steele. They acquired Kyle Tucker, but other than that, like you kind of have a lot of questions regarding the young core. And I just think I could see them coming in second, but I'm just gonna roll. I'm gonna put them at three. I'm just not feeling how they're going about things. And then four, I'm gonna have the Cardinals. I think they have a solid offense. Just their pitching is really what's gonna hold them back. And then I'm sorry, Ethan, at five, I'm going with the Pirates. Just
Wow.
two. They're super young, and they have to put it together for a full season. I think they can. I think they can do if they make one or two more good acquisitions. I think they'll be a contender for the division, but they gotta show it to me on the field. And when you have a guy like IKF at shortstop, it raises a lot of questions for me. So
You
those are my
shocked me with that. I
predictions.
was not expecting that. Wow. Okay.
I mean,
Ethan,
if
floor is
Skenes could
yours.
pitch every game, I'd put them in
True.
first,
True.
but
True.
that's not how it
Yeah, you
This is
works.
might.
true.
We might see a new inning record. For me, one and two in this division's like totally up in the air. I think the Cubs are the
Okay.
better team. I think that the Brewers I trust more, and so I'm just gonna go with the Brewers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm honestly, I'm s- 1, 2, 3 is just so hard. I'm gonna put the Cubs second, and I'm gonna put the Cardinals third, but the Cubs are so liable to blow things up at the deadline if it's
Mm-hmm.
not looking great. I
Mm-hmm.
just, I'm like, I don't know. But and then 4 and 5, I'm putting the Pirates four and the Reds five.
Wow.
I
What?
I I do
Wow.
I do think the Pirates position for position might find something somewhere and go hot for like a month. And I think that the Pirates and the Reds are relying on a lot of the same things that we have our Hunter Greens, Paul Skenes, but I trust Mitch Keller to take a step forward this year. I'm not going to lie, and I think that just wins us. I think if they win 74 games, we win 75.
Okay. Okay. So it's close. I'm really surprised. Y'all were much higher on the Cardinals than I thought you would be. And I know, Colin, that you didn't have them much higher than me, but like Ethan, you have the Cardinals second, and you followed it up by saying if the Cubs are like, they're gonna blow it up.
I could see the Cubs doing it because of their ownership. I think their ownership's really stingy. I think that they just are that way, and I could see them making like a move and getting some prospects and saying we're going to go for it next year or something. I know they just signed Kyle Tucker, but I just don't trust the Cubs. I
They're
don't.
gonna if they're not in contention, they're gonna trade him because there'd be no
I
point
was
of
just
just
gonna
letting him
ask you
play
guys.
the second half.
He's only on a 1 year deal.
Yeah,
So
that's what I mean.
I
basically,
was
to
just gonna
me,
ask you guys. I was just gonna ask you guys, like, do you think it's more likely that he is or isn't on the Cubs at the deadline? After the deadline,
It
I should say.
depends. If they're in contention, yeah. But if they're like 7, 8 games out, he's gone.
the the
Wow,
the fate of Kyle Tucker lies in the Cubs starting rotation.
that's crazy. I like that we all collectively agree that the Brewers we just trust them. You know what I mean? Like we might think that there's more talented teams, but it's just like the Brewers have done it until they don't do it.
Yeah.
I have to pick them. But
Yeah,
solid picks all around. Can't be
a
too
lot of
mad.
questions, a lot of questions around. That's why they call it the NL mid.
That's true.
But yeah, maybe I don't know. I think if these central teams, I think if they were good, then it'd make the other central teams be good, kind of like what you see with the NL East kind of thing. But like since they're all just mid, they don't really have that like extra like proactive approach to like put themselves over the top. Like you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That logic
Yeah,
makes
Yeah.
sense.
you're totally right. Because when that year that the Cubs won the World Series, the Pirates were really good, and I think the Cardinals weren't far behind. Like
Yeah.
the division was good, and
Right.
then the division's crap. Then we sent a playoff team that won 83 games.
Yeah. But yeah, Ethan, good luck to your Pirates this year. I will be rooting for them. I'm a huge Skenes guy. I got them on fantasy. Um, so yeah, I'll be rooting for your Pirates as long as they're not playing the Yankees.
Say I probably won't return the favor. I won't be rooting for the Yankees.
Yeah, we get that a lot. It's all right. Even though we can't really call us bandwagons when they haven't won since we were 9 years old, but
It's true.
This is true. This is true.
but yeah. But
Anyway.
yeah, we got 1 minute left here. So thank you everyone for listening. I do want to say this episode's brought to you by Blue Woods Bakery. I'll drop the link to that website in the description. Braeden, you had some Blue Woods Bakery the other day. Can you attest to the positive reviews of it?
Very solid. I'm still waiting on was it vanilla macaroons that you mentioned? I think it was vanilla. Yeah, I'm still waiting on those, but very, very solid stuff going on there.
Yeah. And Ethan, yeah, thanks again for coming on. Thanks for your time.
Well, thank you.
Good insight. I'm sure you'll be back on for a Pirates episode in the future. But yeah, thanks everyone for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Hey guys.
Thanks.